The Rogue Invitational happening this weekend in Austin, Texas. One of the most anticipated contests of the 2021 season. This contest is stacked. The prize money is growing. It's now sat at over $130,000 for first prize. You have 4 World's Strongest Man winners in this contest. 7 World's Strongest Man titles in total. Starting off with the 4-time World's Strongest Man, the one and only Brian Shaw.
We also have 2019's World's Strongest Man, Martins Licis, the 2020 champion, Alexei Novikov, and the current World's Strongest Man, Tom Stoltman.
Mateusz Kiliashkovsky, this guy is a Terminator and hungry to win titles again. We also have the current Europe's Strongest Man, Luke Stoltman, taking part in this contest.
And we have the multiple Canadian champion, JF Caron, competing.
And we have the return of Jerry Pritchett, Rob Kearney and Mikhail Shivlikov. 3 of the top strongmen over the last few years. Couple of guys that have had injuries recently. It's going to be interesting to see whether they are in full fighting condition. So before we go into our predictions, I want to break down each individual event because this contest is stacked and I think it needs a little bit of evaluation, a little bit of looking deeper before we come up with our predictions. I was kind of thinking about this. This is a really tough contest to predict.
It's really hard.
And when you start looking at the events and delving deep into that, you kind of see why. Absolutely. So let's start off with the events. Starting off with the elephant bar deadlift. Maximum weight. A couple of things to point out with the elephant bar. No suits allowed. No figure of 8 straps allowed. So raw deadlifting. I mean, they are allowed normal straps.
Yeah.
But none of the figure of 8 straps. We've been looking at our own, we've kind of written down our own little predictions for each event. And
I don't want to share mine.
Come on, you've got to share yours. I mean, for me, the guys to look out for on the deadlift, obviously JF Caron.
Yeah.
He's established on this bar, done it very well before. Brian Shaw has lifted some huge numbers on the elephant bar. If his deadlift's up to par, if he's fully fit, and this is a big if, Jerry Pritchett can lift massive weights on this bar. I hope he is coming in top shape. Also, Shivlikov.
Yeah.
Shivlikov has pulled some big numbers on this bar in the past. And someone else I think can pull a big weight after watching him this weekend at Britain's Strongest Man, Tom Stoltman. His deadlifting is getting supremely strong. He kept up with Adam Bishop on the weekend. Looked just as good. If he can bring that power across to this contest, I think we could see a big number by the big Scot.
I think what's really interesting on this event is how will Alexei do, because we know how much he gets from a suit. He stuffs himself in it, it's super tight, but he gets it works for him, doesn't it? He hates it, but it does, like, it really works well for him. And I don't feel right betting against him in a deadlift, considering what he's done on the deadlift this last year. But I just don't think this setup suits him.
I think the other factor is Kiliashkovsky on the deadlift.
Yes.
Can he beat any of these guys on the deadlift? It's a big question.
It's going to depend on the shape of everyone coming in.
It will do. There's a couple of guys, they've had injuries. Have they had time to recover? You know, if Jerry Pritchett and Shivlikov are in shape, they are monster deadlifters. Luke Stoltman, potentially one of the weaker deadlifters in there. And Kiliashkovsky. Everyone else is pulling massive, massive numbers. So this could be a really important event to kick things off. So after the deadlift, it moves on to the SEER dumbbell medley. This is going to be an amazing one to watch. I've got my notes on the people that I think can do really well on this.
So we just saw a dumbbell medley at Britain's Strongest Man, and we said on the day, you don't have like the top dumbbell pressers in that competition, but in this one we do. We've got Alexei Novikov, Mateusz Kiliashkovsky, Brian Shaw, Martins is great at it. Like, Luke and Tom were first and second at Brits on this event, but I don't know that they even feature in the top 4 or 5 in this competition.
I think after watching Luke on the weekend, he's put himself into, you know, being a contender. I don't see him beating the likes of maybe Brian Shaw and Alexei, Kiliashkovsky, but he's good enough, I think, to get good points. And same with JF Caron. He's another guy. His dumbbell's been very good in recent years. could be sort of mid-table, get some decent points. But yeah, you're looking at those guys. You mentioned Kiliashkovsky, unbelievable, 150 kilo dumbbell, 330 pounds. Novikov in training recently, a little bit more than that. Brian Shaw, amazing dumbbell presser. Lissis, proven on these dumbbells before. Those 4 guys are going to be extremely hard to beat. So after the dumbbell, we move on to the Wheel of Pain. What do you think about the Wheel of Pain?
Wow, we've seen it a couple of times before now at the Arnolds. Martins and Kiliashkovsky have done exceptionally well. I've got Kiliashkovsky winning this one, and I've been loving the training videos that have been coming for this
people
event.
Pushing the tractors everywhere.
Yes, it just looks so cool, and I can't wait to see it. I've got Mateusz doing exceptionally well, probably winning the event. I've got Tom doing well, Martins, Alexei, and it's so hard because they'll all do well, but who's going to do the best?
That's the question. Who comes out on top? I mean, I've got Tom, Lissis, Kiliashkovsky, and Novikov as my main picks.
Yeah.
Tom did exceptionally well at the railway carriage push at World's Strongest Man, and the other guys have all done extremely well on this in the past.
Brian didn't do so well at the push at Worlds, but his technique was just wrong, and I think he would have taken a lot from that, and he's not going to let something like that happen again.
You think he's just such a huge man, you think he could do well. It's just we haven't seen him prove it on this event.
No.
Because he's not had the chance. He's not competed in the Arnold since they've had it in. So interesting to see how the big man does. But for me, one of those 4, Tom, Lissis, Kiliashkovsky, Novikov on the Wheel of Pain.
Agreed.
Then we have the interesting medley. 1,000-pound yoke into a log lift for 3 reps. Now, another interesting one because you're combining 2 events here.
Yeah.
So who have you got for this one? I've got my picks.
It's about who gets to that log first, because most of these guys are capable of the reps.
Absolutely.
Kiliashkovsky gets to the log first. So I think he wins that event because he's such a good log presser. I think Alexei does very well. Luke does very well. Tom. Brian, definitely capable. Brian needs to just watch his transitions. Sometimes he loses a bit of time.
Pretty much
Martins
with you.
is going to do well.
Pretty much with you, although I think Rob Kearney instead of...
Oh, God.
Rob Kearney, one of the fastest men on the yoke, on the planet, and a great log lifter as well. I think he could do some damage on that event.
Yeah,
but right. I'm with you on Tom, Novikov, Kiliashkovsky and Luke as well.
I honestly think this is going to be so close. Because I think even the guys that do badly at certain events, they haven't done bad.
Is there?
No,
that's the thing. You're talking about some of the greatest strongmen on the planet currently and of all time competing in this show.
If everyone turns up in shape, I think some of the lower scoring performances are still going to be incredible performances.
That's where the winner's going to be dictated. Being able to consistently be in that top 5 on every single event. This is one of the hardest shows, I think, to predict this year. We've said that a lot. But
with each new show.
Yeah, but it really is.
It really is.
When you look into this deeply, I mean, the Inverstone is the last event.
Yeah.
Some great stone lifters there.
Yeah.
Being able to cope with the natural stones could throw people off. I've got Brian, obviously, an amazing stone lifter. Tom Stoltman, an amazing stone lifter.
Kiliashkovsky.
Kiliashkovsky's great, but I'd put Lissis as one of the best on stones.
Yeah. What about the stone shoulder performance from Mateusz in?
But they're not shouldering.
I know they're not. But it's
different.
Handling it and getting it to a certain height to get it over the hitching post.
I've seen some videos of him doing some stones without tacky, making it look really good. He's going to be in there battling hard. It's going to be an interesting one, being the last event as well.
Yeah.
Mistakes can happen. Pressure will get to people. Who's going to cope with it the best? We've promised you guys a top 5, which is brutal. Now, I've been kind of looking at this over and over again, and I've got a top 5, but getting that top 5 in order was hard.
I've got a top 5, but I'm not happy.
Let's hear who's in your top 5. Don't tell me the order, but I want to know who's in your top 5. I want to see if mine's the same.
I chickened out a little, so I did a top 5 for each event.
Right.
And then how I think roughly people will fare.
Okay.
And then I've added it up, and it's ridiculous. I just don't agree with it. I'll give you my top 5.
Okay.
Hold on, why have I got 6? Right, no, I've got 5. So inside my top 5 is Tom, Brian, Martins, Alexei, and Kiliashkovsky.
Okay, I have the exact same top 5.
Okay. But it's the order. I'm not happy.
Right. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go on.
All right. In 5th place,
Yeah.
I've got Kiliashkovsky. Now, let me explain my reasoning, because I love Kiliashkovsky and I think he could win. I do. I think all of these guys could win, but I think the deadlift may potentially cost him a few too many points. I think in a contest like this, if he's last or second from last on the deadlift, he then needs to win every single other event,
And he needs
which
guys
he's
to be
capable of.
inconsistent as well.
But coming back from injury,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You know, we watched him in Dubai recently. He was exceptionally good, but the nerves were there. This is an even higher caliber of athletes he's going to be up against.
Yeah.
I think one mistake could be potentially, damaging in for that overall win. So in this contest, I've got Kiliashkovsky coming in 5th. 4th place, I think, is going to go to Mr. Brian Shaw. I think he's got the consistency to perform very well. I just think that a lack of speed on, say, the yoke into the log might cost him. He's very methodical. I think that's good in some ways, but against these younger, more dynamic athletes, I just think he loses out on a few events just because he's not as quick.
More daring athletes as well.
Yeah,
who go gung-ho a bit more than
dumbbell
Brian's
medley.
willing to. Yeah.
Can Brian keep up with the speed of, say, a Kiliashkovsky and a Novikov? That's for me, I think he can match them on pretty much on strength.
Yeah.
And again, we haven't seen the best deadlifts from Brian in the past.
No.
I do feel if he's in top shape, he could win the deadlift, but we haven't seen that in the last couple of years. 3rd place for me, the return of Martins Lissis. I think he's one of the most consistent performers out there. I think he could do exceptionally well. I'm going to place Martins in 3rd. I've got Novikov in 2nd, and I'm putting Tom Stoltman to win. Now, before I started looking into these events deeply, I didn't have Tom as my winner. But let's look at these events. Stones.
Yeah.
He's exceptionally good at stones. Log. He's got bloody good at log over the last year, and he was quick. He's quick on the yoke now. He moves well on that event. I don't see him sort of placing low on it. The Wheel of Pain. He could win.
Yeah.
The Sear Dumbbell is potentially the weakest event.
Yeah.
Now that's got to be an event he needs to be in top form. He did great at it at Britain's, but this is a higher caliber again. I don't expect him to be coming top 3.
Well, yeah.
But if he can get 5th or 6th place, and then the deadlift, his deadlift's improved loads over the last year. We haven't seen him on this type of setup,
No.
but I think he can score big points. I think he's got 4 events he can do exceptionally well at, and then 1 event where if he can just come mid-table somewhere, I think that makes him the most consistent performer. He looked damn confident at Britain's Strongest Man. He believed he was the world's best that day. There's no grip events or anything like that that kind of throw him off. I'm picking Tom Stoltman to win this title.
That's so interesting, because before we properly started looking at this, I kind of wrote the Stoltmans off, because I thought, no, they've got Britons and they've got, a couple of days they have to fly, etc. But I've done this mathematically based on Tom being in shape and really wanting
and we
this.
know he is.
Yeah, we know he's in shape, and I don't think Britain's has really taken anything out of him.
Also, not only is he in shape, right? There's some competitions that don't matter. The Rogue matters. You've got 4 World's Strongest Men.
It's not going to look good if he doesn't do well.
No. He's won World's Strongest Man. He's won Britain's Strongest Man. If he goes to the Rogue and turns up and comes 5th or 6th, people are going to say, didn't deserve to win World's Strongest Man.
That's the last thing he's
because
gonna
such and
hear.
such wasn't there and such and such wasn't there.
People are bastards.
Honestly, I don't think it matters who was there. I think he's good enough to win. But watching him this weekend, he is a man that believes he's the best on the planet. And he wants to prove it. So he's coming to win this show.
So I wouldn't have picked Tom for the win
Okay.
personally, but doing it mathematically, I actually have Tom winning. So I've got him winning with 40 points.
I think he has the least weaknesses.
In
And
this
most strengths.
setup, probably yes. You're probably right. So I've got Tom winning on 40 points. I've then got Martins in second place with 38 points based on consistency across the board. But this is where mine becomes nonsensical now.
Okay.
Because then I've got 3 guys tied for third.
See, this is the problem.
I don't have a
you've
fourth
gone,
and fifth.
You've gone down the My Block Strongest Man route of doing the score for every single athlete.
No, I haven't. Look, just top 5 on the events, Lozzie, I promise. So I've then got 1 point behind Martins, Brian, Alexi, and Kishkovsky. But like, that's silly. I can't go with that. No, I'm not using it. So I'm gonna stick with Tom because the science says so. I'm gonna have Martins in 2nd, Novikov in 3rd, Kilishkovsky in 4th, Brian in 5th.
There you go, guys. That's
at risk of being told I hate Brian, which I don't.
No,
I have a painting
definitely
of him right here.
That's our picks. Obviously, we want to hear yours. Let us know. I'd like to see top 5s. You know, we've given you a top 5, and that's obviously much harder to do.
It's like JF.
JF Caron. We're not putting him in the top 5, but he'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
He likes sneaking in there as the underdog.
Does, yeah.
And obviously, these are just our fun predictions. We don't know what's going to happen, but I did get 4 out of 4 on the last Britain's Strongest Man. So
you did.
I want to kind of, you know, keep my streak rolling. But yeah, for me, Tom Stoltman comes out on top.
How interesting.
And I can't believe that you've picked Tom as well.
No, I know. Well, I didn't. The science.
The science has picked him.
The science chose him.
Do you guys agree, disagree? Obviously, comment below. I hope you've enjoyed the video. It's going to be an amazing show. Make sure you tune in to the Rogue Fitness channel. It's going to be streamed live.
Yes.
Yours truly is going to be doing the commentating for it. I am absolutely ecstatic about it. It's going to be an amazing opportunity. So pleased to get the opportunity to go out there and commentate for this event. It's going to be a fun one. We'll see you guys soon. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.